the last part of this tutorial series. Today we will discuss Modern Warfare and the endgame. And as I have already mentioned, warfare dramatically changes as soon as you enter the modern era in ways that it doesn't before. From the ancient era right up to the industrial era, you mostly get units that are just variations on older units. They don't really do anything new, they are just slightly improved versions. However, as soon as we hit modern, we get access to the submarine, which changes naval warfare forever. We get access to airplanes, which dramatically change how combat works. And we get access to the battleship, which is another part of changing the way conquest is occurring. So these three together, they make sure that the world changes completely. This is compounded on afterwards with the Manhattan Project, which allows you to build atomic bombs, and the Mobile SAM, which protects you against aerial attacks. All these things together make that combat in the late game is completely different than in the early game. You will notice that in the late game, city strength is no longer a really relevant factor, but having units and mobility of units is much more important. We are in the late game here, and we will just show you on Gal how that works. See, I have one artillery unit, and the amount of damage it can do to the city is completely absurd. And that's not just because the strength of the city is only 39, it would do equally good damage, or well, not the same, but just as well devastating damage at 3 range, which is out of range of the city. And that means that range, positioning and mobility all become much higher factors than simply being able to dish out enough damage on the city. And that's also one of the reasons why the Gatling guns are much less important at this stage of the game. This is mostly about having artillery with range and very mobile units like the cavalry. I will also show the damage of the battleship. Look, 41 from outside of the city's range, that's just completely insane. So the way wars are waged is very different. In addition, if you buy airplanes, let's do that now, a Great War Bomber. As you can see, these are stationed in the city and have an operational range that starts at 6, so they can bomb everything in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles. All this area can be bombed just by that airplane. And that means that it is much easier to keep these units alive. And there is no limitation on their movement, and well, that just means that sight range, mobility are the important factors. Other than that, it should be pretty clear that the late game allows you to conquer much faster than the early game. In the early game you often need 5, maybe even 10 turns to take a city, depending on the amount of resistance. In the late game you can often take a city in 2 turns or so, and the enemy is much more likely to take it back. So the late game conquest changes, and this is one of the reasons why some of the best strategies are just to build a peaceful empire that only goes to war after hitting the modern era. This is a very popular thing to do. You build airplanes or battleships and then conquer the world. Now, that is not to say that this is needed to win the game. About half my games I maintain the peace throughout the game. And I think that's actually a much more, well, safe, I won't say, but it's a very enjoyable style of gaming that allows you to play the diplomacy game and to play the game in a different way. Because once you start conquering, the game will always look more or less the same. And here we have some nuclear bombs. And this way I can show you how they function. You just click on nuke mode and then select a tile to drop it on. Doesn't need to be a city, it damages everything within 2 tiles, so I can drop it here and do damage to the city. Nukes do percent damage to cities and flat damage to units, so you will see that the city goes to 50% and the unit should probably be destroyed. There we go. As you can see, the land here gets irradiated, which reduces its yield quite a lot. As you can see, the unit only took a little bit of damage, but that's quite okay. Nuclear bombs also reduce the population of a city. You can see the 20 city here. We will throw another nuke on it, and you will see it go down to, I think, 10. It should be around that amount. And they are probably a little scared of me now. And the animation takes a while to take effect. Yeah, you can see down to 11, so I wasn't far off. So that's how nukes work. They can be extremely powerful weapons because of the percent damage. And even if you throw them on an enemy that you are not intending to invade, it really hurts their production, their food supplies, and their science. So they also change warfare quite a lot and are a thing to take into account. Now, as I said, about half the games you will play are probably going to end in a peaceful way, and that means that you will be relying on beelining research techs like research lab and satellites to get either the science victory or go to the internet for the tourism victory. The economic victory doesn't need any specific tech, it just requires that you do the diplomacy game well. But those all rely on researching techs in this path to some extent. Even as economic, you really want to defend yourself, and that is best done with submarines and bombers. So you will need them anyway, and if diplomacy doesn't work out, you may want a backup plan, so going for science is never a bad idea. I think that's all we needed to talk about with this. The moment to switch from passive to aggressive is something you will need to decide for yourself. It's not immediately clear when to do this if you want to do it at all, but you definitely want to have an army ready. You always want the initiative when attacking someone, and you don't want to be on the back foot. So that's something that you have to be aware of. And the best advice I think I can give you is to never ever panic. Even if things look really bad, panicking is only going to make them worse. It means that you start building the wrong units, taking the wrong actions, and it will usually cascade down into a bad game. There are many examples of this that you can find in Let's Plays of people that play lower level games where they are building up wonders and then suddenly decide, oh, I need units because my opponent has a cannon near my borders. This is not true at all. Uh, if you have no units or few units and you see the enemy shuffling around your borders, that one or two extra units is not going to help you survive. Just try the diplomacy way, bribe him into attacking someone else and complete your wonders and execute your game plan. This will yield far better results. And even if you lose that game, then you might learn something from it. Um, the risk is often worth it. I would never build an army of any meaningful size unless you are going to attack. Defensive armies just don't work as well as paying off your opponents to fight each other. For example, if I paid the Inca here to fight England, for example, that would have been much better than waiting for them to attack me. Of course, in this situation where I have vastly superior units, this is not relevant. The enemy can attack you for various reasons, but angering him, making negative points here, is greatly going to increase that chance. I have not had it in Brave New World that a friend betrayed me if I only had green points. So sometimes they pose as a friend, but then usually you can see some red points, but mostly they will be loyal, especially if you are technologically not that far behind. Um, I think that's about all we needed to talk about. I know that strategically this guide is very, very thin, and that's normal because you have to discover that yourself. I can't give you in-depth strategies until you have experience with the game, and many Let's Plays on the internet can give you exactly that. So I hope this was of some sort of use to you and that you enjoyed watching it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.